So a few days ago, on December 22nd, 2025, Spotify reported that over 99.5% of their entire database, of their entire musical catalog, was scraped off by a group of independent music activists, something like that. And that essentially means that a group of people organized an event where they went on their Spotify accounts, apparently, and they downloaded the entire catalog from 2007 all the way to 2025, so 18 years, which apparently is around 300 terabytes worth of music. I will put a link down in the description box below for the news source, because I'm giving you this information off of, I believe it's the Euronews. And as an independent musician and also as a critical thinker, I have some thoughts, because I think this event probably had good intentions, but ultimately it's going to, in my opinion, create a worse situation for independent musicians all over. So let's get into it. So to people who may not know, hi, my name is Mehran. I am, by profession, I'm a university teacher. And also I am an independent musician. I have published 4 French albums and a bunch of English songs, as well as 1 English album with my previous band. Speaking of which, you have less than a week to get my 4th French album completely for free as a thank you from me to everybody who's been listening to my stuff for the past few years. All you need to do is to send me an email. The email is in the description box below, and I will personally send you the album, the high quality album audio files to keep forever. No strings attached. I won't have any nothing. This is just a gift from me to you for the end of 2025. All right. The shameless plug out of the way. What do I think about this? Because I do have 2 or maybe 3 general thoughts. Spotify, we agree, that is the biggest music streaming platform. They are one top hat and one monocle short away from being the monopoly guy on the market. I believe they are, because I want to say maybe 100,000 songs are uploaded to minimum to Spotify daily, and that means that place is like that platform, that streaming platform is like, it's not even like, the word massive doesn't even begin to define what they are. It's just they're a whole, they're everything. Like, they are the music industry right now. Each stream should be worth around $0.003 to $0.005 per stream for the artist. That means you need to have like 1 million streams to get somewhere between $3,000 to $5,000 before taxes, of course. So for the independent musician, discoverability is the big issue here, because if you put a song on the platform and the song doesn't receive the attention, the plays, the playlist, and everything, what happens is that ultimately you lose money, because in order to put your music on Spotify, technically the process is free, but you need to put your music on the Spotify or any other musical platform through a third-party company. There are a few very famous ones. I use DistroKid, and this is not any kind of a sponsored thing. I'm just saying that's the platform I use, and for me it's like at least a couple of euros per song if I want the basic minimum without any extra bells and whistles. So in effect, every time somebody listens to my songs, if that song has fewer than 1,000 plays, effectively I'm paying myself from my own pocket. So I'm losing money. That means that the independent musicians are pretty much, unless they strike gold and they get playlisted and like somebody discovers them either through viral clips, blah blah, or through sheer luck, however you want to call the algorithm. Being an independent musician is a hobby. It's a very expensive, but still a a hobby. And so this political activist, not political, this musical, social, I don't know what to call them, activist group, they probably had good intentions by doing this, because they said, hey, you know what? Let's archive all of these songs for the future generations. That being said, apparently the archive is some piracy website, like some peer-to-peer torrent kind of a deal, which obviously it has its own can of worms of problems. They probably had good intentions. They were thinking about let's have all of these songs so people can listen whenever they want, wherever they want, which again is a good idea, because if you are a free Spotify user, you can listen to songs uninterrupted, I believe up to 30 minutes, and then there's going to be a couple of ads breaking the flow, and then you can just go back and listen to the songs you want. Having this free with a huge asterisk access to music is awesome, but it has created a bad, distracted, and clickbaity music listening experience. I remember when I was a child, I would listen to an album, it was on a CD or on tape, back to back, because it was like, that was all I had. I didn't have like a library of CDs, of vinyls, of tapes. I had like maybe 5 albums, that was it. When MP3 became a standard, I would rip the audio CDs I had, and I would put them all in different folders, and I would burn that folder onto like an MP3 CD, and then I would listen to that. That would mean that on one CD now, instead of having one album, I would have 12, which again is awesome when you look about it. When you look at it from an efficiency standpoint, it's really good. Yes, the quality is different. Yes, I wasn't paying the artist anymore. I had bought the original CD, but that was it. With Spotify, with services like that, when you listen to a song, the artist gets paid. That's good. Should get paid. That's good. But through this, there's a huge problem. Because what these activists have done clearly is illegal. There's no two ways around it. Are they being vigilantes? Because you would say, well, Spotify is stealing from musicians, blah, blah. That is a very different kind of conversation. But right now, within the rules of the world in December of 2025, I think what the activists did is illegal. I am not a huge fan of Spotify because their systems, their AI training module, all of that is very close adjacent to being evil. However, it is the platform that has allowed me to put my music on a competing stage with everybody else. Right now, when you go to Spotify, you look up Mehran, I don't know, A Million Specks of Light, which is my most successful song so far. You can listen to it in like 3 clicks. And that is a good thing, because 10 years ago, 15 years ago, in order to do that, you would have to go to a local record store, find me, even if I had the means to create a physical album. And so you are now able to hear me and listen to my music like that, very easily. But that comes with a caveat, and the caveat is that Spotify doesn't pay me unless I am successful in their eyes. So they're exploiting my music for their benefits. If you are a Spotify premium user, I believe for a couple of months, if you do it for the first time, it's free. Then it's like $10 or something like that. If you're a student, I think it's like $4. But generally, you have to pay a monthly subscription to have this unlimited access to every music in the history of the world, as long as it's on Spotify. And now, because of this attack, of this scraping, of this cloning the entire Spotify archives, I think the consequences that could happen are one of two. One, somebody is getting sued. They're going to find out the people behind this, the masterminds behind this act, and they're going to sue them into oblivion. Spotify is going to sue them into oblivion, which is very on par with what you'd expect from corporations. Number one. Number two, nothing will change for me in terms of a creator, in terms of an independent musician, because I would still do the same thing. However, it is possible that the services that I work with, in my case, DistroKit, the distribution platform, might say, hey, Spotify is increasing their security because of the recent breach of data, and so now we'd have to increase our prices to match, to make sure that we're giving you the best experience. Or, and this second scenario is way more probable in my opinion, because this is what I would do if I was the owner of a mega corporation. I see a security breach, I see an occasion, an opportunity to raise my prices. When you look at the past year, from January of 2025 all the way until December, a few services, very popular services, streaming and entertainment services, all increase their prices because of a ton of different made-up reasons, right? This is not a made-up reason anymore. There was an attack on Spotify. They like 99.6% of their music is available now for everybody to download. And that means they have this excuse to say, you know what, our security system was, our encoding, our encryption, whatever, was not strong enough. We're going to fortify it. We're going to make it powerful, more powerful. But now instead of $10 a month, dear subscriber, you'd have to pay us 11, 12, 15, right? And so who's winning in the end? The vigilantes probably will be getting sued if they're found. The user will have to pay more for the premium access. The creators might have to pay more for having their music on a more secure platform. And all of this is happening because of the lack of competition. Nobody can compete with Spotify. You might argue for Apple Music, but I believe the general population of the people who are using Apple Music compared to Spotify might be lower. I don't have any statistics. If I find anything, I'll put it here. And if I'm wrong, then oops. But I think people prefer to have that easy one-click access. Let me just listen to a couple of minutes of this song before going to work. Kind of an approach. It's easier for them because on Apple, you'd have to buy the song to listen to it. Why people would buy something when they can just have unlimited access to everything at a slightly higher price? You know what I'm going with this? So these are my thoughts. I don't know if it was coherent because I'd been arguing with myself on how to create a hierarchy of things. Generally, I think the activists will probably get sued into oblivion. These people who pirated the music. Spotify might increase their prices, hiding behind the facade of higher secrecy, higher security levels. And distribution platforms, CD Baby, Rhapsody, what was the other one? TuneCore, DistroKid, all the big names, might increase their prices because of this system, because of this pretext of, hey, we had this breach happen, now we're going to increase the security. I think ultimately this is a lose-lose game for us, the consumers and the creators, and probably a win-win game for the corporations because they control the flow of everything. And so finally, what can be done? I want to bring it all home. What can be done for this? Well, in short term, you might say, hey, I could cancel my subscription to Spotify so that they lose more money. That is not a bad plan, but you could still access it for free for 30 minutes. You could do that if you can stomach the 30-second, 40-second sometimes video advertisements on Spotify. Then maybe using a free account would be more beneficial for you. I don't know. I am not saying you should cancel your subscription or not. I'm just saying this is a matter of perspective. The world domination from Spotify hasn't begun. It's finished. They own the musical universe until they go bankrupt, which is improbable, or another gigantic corporation comes and buys them, which again doesn't really solve our problem. It just moves them to a different color palette. In my opinion, the best way for supporting this situation, or for to have a more nuanced and honest response, is to reach out to local artists. Well, the big names that you like them very much, I don't think they need the money anymore. It's more about for them just to do the things and create records and just be all over the world. But for the local musicians, for the indie musicians, for the smaller bands, I guess you could reach out to them and buy their merch, support them directly. Like I told you, a song needs to be heard 1,000 times minimum on Spotify for it to be almost eligible to be financially viable. And 1,000 times is a lot of times. So maybe by going to the artist and buying their merch, buying their music, buying their discs, even if you don't have a CD player, you can just buy it as a show of support. And definitely the most important thing in my opinion is to go to live shows. Live shows probably are the only place so far that is untouched and untouchable, because that's human to human interaction, unless somehow AI replaces that, but I don't see that happening in a very long time. So when you go to a show, when you see an artist, you can support them, you can donate money, You can buy their merch. You can ask, hey, what can we do to support you? Do you have like a mug we can buy? Do you have a hoodie? Do you have, you know what I mean? That would probably be my solution for this scenario, because very soon, if this thing continues, the independent artists may not even be able to afford putting their music on Spotify or any other platform for you to listen to. Luckily, we still have one last bastion, and that is this bastion that you are watching me on, and that is YouTube. But YouTube has its own set of problems, which I'll talk about maybe in a different video. Anyway, if you're still watching this video, thank you so much. I had so many things. You can see I'm very passionate about this. I had so many things I wanted to say. Hopefully it's not super long, this video. If you could, please, it would be super awesome if you could do the YouTube thing. One of the plans I have for 2026 is to see how much I can push this channel into to more audiences. But that is a little long ways down the road. And thank you for listening to my songs. You could listen to my album. It's called Sans Retour. It's a French album, which means no return. Everywhere where you listen to music, even here on YouTube or on Spotify or anywhere you want to go. And you could get the album, the CD, completely for free until the end of December. All you need to do is to send me an email on the description box below, and we are off to the races. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay sane. I'm sorry, I'm still recovering from a very, very bad COVID, but I got most of my voice back and a lot of my energy. I will be seeing you very soon. Stay safe, stay sane, take care, and peace.